And I want to welcome anyone that's watching right now anyone that's new to me or to Dom tomorrow or to us or coaching or anything like that in general. And anyone that's struggling, because you're going to hear some wisdom today. So you're definitely in the right place. The other thing I'd like you to listen for, and I ask everyone to do this with every podcast, is just to listen for the similarities between us and ignore any of the differences. The differences, there's nothing in that for you, but there's something to get about listening for similarities between us, because we're all connected, we're all the same, we're all human. And the other thing is, if my internet cuts off, because sometimes it does that, and it did that this morning, then we will do a part 2 for this. So don't worry, you'll get everything that you need. So I'm Andrea from Dominant Mindset Coaching. I was a dominatrix for 12 years. I got sober in 2018, and I'm now a confidence coach, helping people to turn setbacks into personal power using the 5D power process. And with me, and I'm so fucking excited for this, but I have someone who I've followed for years, who I've thought is just like the epitome of just power and strength and all of those good things. I've got Dom tomorrow, and do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a wee bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Dom tomorrow, and I've been a pro Dom for 5.5 years now. And I am mostly online. I specialize in feminization, a lot of role play. I am a big mommy Dom, and I put it out there. I like to be called mother. But I'm not really like a nice mommy Dom. I'm more of like an evil stepmother mommy Dom. And it's so fun. I do a lot of giantess stuff and cuckolding and a lot of intellectual more like mind kink. Because I'm online, I don't really get to get my claws into so many people. They're all over the world. So we really play in the mindscape, and chastity too is a friend. But I do a lot of video production, and I guess that's kind of my main thing is video production and cam and phone sessions. And I love making femdom content, and I've really go heavy on the green screen. It's a fun, creative time over here. But yeah. Oh, and also make watercolor art, which is kind of more like a hobby. But if you follow me, you'll see that too. And you can check out my art stuff. But that's just a thing that I have to do every day. And then I just kind of sell them. And it blows my mind that people want to buy my art, to be honest, because I still feel like such an amateur. Okay, so that's me.
Amazing. Is that one of yours behind you that's on the wall?
No, this is actually my partner. We've been living together for 5 years, and I love him. He's so supportive and he's so good. He's an incredible artist. Okay. I found him on Instagram and I hunted him down and I made him go out with me, and absolutely love his artwork. And he made this, but now he's in a master's program and he's going into special education. He's going to be a teacher. And so he's kind of all over the place, but he's super caring. And I'm a huge fangirl of his, and I get to just stalk him up close every day. It's absolutely magical. So this is, and I get to stare at it and love it. But no, mine is in other parts of the house, but y'all can go look later.
Amazing. We'll definitely make sure that we get the links up for all of that for anyone that wants anything. So super cool. So let's get right into it. What do you think, or what would you say makes a woman powerful?
I love this question. I've been stewing on it, and I've had several different answers pop through my head over the past couple of weeks since I knew I was going to do this. But I think when it comes down to it, is that every single woman is already powerful. And I think about it quite like a seed. When you look at a seed, you're like, is this powerful? But then you plant it in the dirt and you give it what it needs and you take care of it, and then it grows into a plant, a tree. Like you don't really know what you could grow into, but the power is already there. And the thing that you got to do is like, how can I take care of myself, and how can I put myself in the right surroundings so that I can grow into what I'm supposed to grow into?
And that is a stunning metaphor for that. Like that power is just already contained. Yeah. Even if you're small, it's still there, it's still within you. And then As long as you give yourself what you need and look
Yes.
after yourself, there's no limits.
And you know what's blocking you too? Like you can feel lit. And everybody who's watching this now or later, they're thinking about their own power, exercising their own power. They're already thinking about the restrictions that they're coming against. You kind of already know what's blocking you, what needs to change. And really what you're asking for is, do I have the courage to change those things? Or am I just willing to accept the uncomfortableness of my current situation because it's familiar? You know what I mean? Sometimes the familiar, like, shittiness is better than the scary possibility of actually getting to a place where you're like, you know, flexing your power and feeling really good.
Mm-hmm. And like, I love that you've said that, because one of the steps within the 5D power process that I teach people, because I'm all about self-sufficiency, right? Be able to pull yourself out of any hole, anytime, anywhere, and really do yourself a favor. But often what we're doing and why we stay stuck is because we're choosing between this, which is what we've already got and it's familiar and it's comfortable, versus this. And that's the unknown, and that's terrifying. And part of that process is unconcealing and uncovering that and going, right, okay, now I'm choosing between two very distinct futures, the one I've already got and I can make peace with that, or the new one that I've just created for myself. And then it's about you take the action, but pulling that hand out from behind their back so they can now see two clear options is so, so important, because that's what we do. We stay stuck because we're scared.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes we think that we deserve the pain of being stuck. I don't know what it is about, like, everyone's got a little bit of masochism, you know what I mean? And sometimes the things that you do to keep yourself stuck, you kind of, it's like a little bit of masochism. Like, I deserve it. I fucking deserve to just sit here in my own shit.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of masochism there, you know, and a self-doubt, but nobody deserves to have that pain. You deserve the possibility and the juiciness of your dreams, you know? And it's hard to convince yourself that if you're talking shit to yourself all the time.
Yeah. And we'll also destroy ourselves in the pursuit of being right about something.
What? Not me.
We're like, no, I'm small and I'm tiny and I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy. And it's like, no, you are. No, I want to be right about that. So I'm just going to stay exactly where I am, right here, tiny. And it's like, so helping people to see that. Like, no, that's lies that you keep telling yourself that keep yourself stuck because you're trying to be right about it. So yeah, love it. Okay, so what's something that you've had to battle through personally that's had you come out of the other side more powerful?
Oh, well, I got one big story, which is how I started this job. And and it's a little bit heavy, but I'm going to try to get through it quicker and give you the bullet points rather than all of the tragic details. But I was, 7.5 years ago, I was in New York. I was working at the People's Improv Theater, and I was acting, and I was teaching their kids and teens program, and I was performing several times a week, and I was producing my friends' plays, and I was producing my own like improv stuff. I even produced this, helped produce this one awesome late night kinky, sexy themed improv show, which quickly fell apart because everybody on the production board was a hot mess, but it was so fun for a while. You know, I remember wearing a strap-on stage, and just, it was a magical time in New York in 2011, 2010. But anyways, I got pregnant and I was super in love at the time, and we ended up moving to Nashville because he had a job here. And boy, I wasn't quite ready for parenthood in America, and just the pummeling that you really get, the no support, this like feeling like the rug just got pulled out from underneath you. And I felt like it was the right thing to do. We were really in love at the time, and I was like, I don't want to be in New York being the person carrying a stroller up and down subway steps. So like, I'm just going to leap into this new adventure and just trust that it's going to work out. So I'm in Nashville. We don't have a car. I don't know anybody because my family's in Florida. We're like living with family, and our relationship is not going well. His addiction issues are popping up, and he ends up going to jail after I have the baby. And my baby is like a year old, and he's in jail for 6 months for his second DUI. And I felt like I couldn't find a job because I'm having to be a parent and I can't leave the house, and I have to have a schedule that like fits 24/7 parenting, and I got to make 100% of the money now, and this relationship is toxic. How do I get out of it? So really the circumstances were very COVID-19. Like, how do I make money in my house, not going anywhere, where I have this huge responsibility, and like shit's got to happen now. And my entire background is like bartending and food service, which I can't do because there's no childcare that's going to watch my kid until 4 o'clock in the morning that I can afford. So I'm in a pickle, right? So I think to myself, what am I going to do? I am going to go back to cam work, because when I was living in New York, I was doing a lot of sexy things under the radar. You know, I really wanted to do sex work, but everybody's like, if you do that, it ruins your career. You will never have a career here in the super great entertainment industry, or as an artist or as a writer or actor. Like, you'll never work again. So I avoided it. I just did everything in the shadows, you know, and I was just having such a kinky time. And I remembered this stint in which I was like sugar babying in New York, and I was on cam, which only happened for a short time because guess what? The director of my improv theater saw me on cam, and he was like, "Is that you?" And I'm like, "Oh God, my life is crumbling." Okay, so fast forward, I have this baby. I'm like, I'm going to get back on cam. I know it's going to work. I know I'm going to make some kind of money. I'm going to pay some kind of bills, right? And I fucking needed it because I was wallowing in postpartum depression. I had never had depression problems ever in my life, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And you don't really realize that you're really depressed, but like you realize you haven't left the house and you haven't really showered, and you're just sitting there with the baby, just like crying at the end of the day, and like you can't sleep. I was sleeping 2 hours max a night because my child woke up every couple hours until he was 3 years old. It was hard. It was hard. So I get on cam, and I realized fast that, you know, I only want to do Dom stuff, and that it's actually working out really great because I'm really great at verbal humiliation. All of my improv background and all of the scenes that I had ever done in which I played like a high status, high power character. And that's all I love to do is play like wicked witch or like evil stepmother or like, you know, femme fatale. And so I'm just like loving it. I ended up having this regular client who was quadriplegic and wanted this very intense mommy dumb fantasy in which he would come to my door as a UPS driver, and I would give him this secret cocktail of substances, and he would turn into a baby, and I'd trap him in my secret baby dungeon, and I'd do all kinds of horrible stuff to him. I'd walk him through this verbal role play until he had a hands-free orgasm. And I didn't realize that I was really being thrown to the wolves on some advanced level verbal domination. And it just kind of clicked for me. And I was like, this is my goddamn calling, you know? I can do this all day. And so I just started doing, you know, more and more sessions. I was like, I'm only doing Dom stuff. I started doing my own clip production, and then I reached out in the community here, and I found really great people to film with who are also like, you know, OnlyFans models. And so I've got a little community here, a femdom community that I'm making, and it's just kind of been the best thing I have ever done. Okay. I went from wallowing and just feeling so powerless, so unsexy, very bad relationship, and we have a good relationship now. I don't want to drag him through the mud. We're very good co-parents now, and it's all working out. But like the power change that I went through, it was pulling myself out of the mud, and I was like becoming financially empowered. I mean, to pay your bills and to not feel scared, like, oh my God, what if I don't have my food stamps? Like, am I gonna make it? So just on every level, the empowerment that I felt starting this job and really coming into myself as, you know, a sexual being, I said this was going to be a short story, but I guess it's not. But it just took a long time for me to fully accept myself as a dominant, because I have a background in, I grew up conservative Christian, evangelical Christian in the South. And so you have a hard time with your Madonna whore complex for a long time. And because, you know, you can either be a good, submissive, godly woman, or you can be an evil temptress. And so I feel like for a long part of my life, I was like, I am good and I'm not an evil, manipulative, nasty, sexy lady. Okay. I don't deserve violence, which is really what I was saying, is like, I don't deserve violence. You know what I mean? So when I got into this job, I finally was like, okay, none of this stuff is in the closet anymore. All of my sexy stuff is out front. I'm being very honest with everybody. That and my Dom page got sent to everybody in my personal phone book. So everybody in my family knew about it within like the first year. So I was out. Like, I'm out. And everybody knows about me. But what has been so great about that is that people that I didn't even realize who were secretly kinky, or the amount of mom friends specifically that have come to me and said, I really want to do that. I really want to like dominate somebody. My husband or my boyfriend is not ever going to let me, like, but I'm dying for it. I want to know how that feels. And so there is just a thirst out there for moms. I know. And just women in general, who just want to flex those muscles because they've never gotten to step into it before. And I am fucking here for that. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's my story.
Love that. And like going through all of that at the time when you had to make that decision of like, do I pay my bills and like, or do I stay in this situation? Like when you came right up to that decision time, what was that experience like for you?
Well, you know, for me, it was survival based, because it's like, I have to figure this out fast, or, you know, or I move back to Florida, move in my parents, or what, you know what I mean? Because, you know, my parents didn't really help me out so much. So it was kind of like this or nothing. And sometimes you have to be put in that situation in order to grow and to kind of move into your next step, and life will just kind of force you there. And I just felt like I was already at the bottom. Like there was nowhere to go besides up at that point.
And what do you think some of the lessons have been that you've taken from that whole experience, like growing into your power and finding like, this is my fucking calling?
Yeah. I think, you know, we're all a little bit mind fucked because we're coming off of thousands of years of patriarchy, right? And only in the past handful of years are we really discovering, you know, feminine sexuality, and that even, you know, kink and BDSM is not a disorder. So I think we're in a new sexual revolution now. And so I would say the thing that I learned is that, you know, I have to ask myself the question, am I doing things and choosing to be a certain way and putting on a certain face because I don't want to experience the violence of the patriarchy if I am my true self?
Yeah.
Is that more of a good place to be in? Or should I step into my authenticity and be who I am? And if I experience violence, which I do regularly, I'm a woman online who's like loudly, you know, herself. So I get trolled. I get the most horrible messages in my inbox sometimes, but I would much rather deal with that bullshit and stand in this place than to constantly be putting my effort into doing and being something that I'm not, just to please everybody else or to not experience pain. You're going to get pain either way. I was like, life gives you pain. And I think that's what's beautiful about BDSM, is like teaching you how to gracefully just work through it and be there and be in pain and know that you're still going to be okay, and you're going to work through it, and you're going to come out the other side. Pain is not the worst thing that could happen. What can be the worst thing is just being a wimp and not going through the pain. You want to be a wimp your whole life? I don't want to call anybody out. That might be hurtful, but I do a lot of name calling, and sometimes it just leaks out.
go for it, right? It's authentic, and that's what this is all about. But I really like how you kind of distinguish between the two types of pain, right? There's pain that serves no purpose, it's useless. And then there's pain that helps you grow, which is purposeful. And it moves you on and it moves you forward in life. And that is so important to just see that. And yeah, sometimes we need to tell ourselves, stop being a fucking shite bag. Don't be a wimp, just go for it. Because on the other side of all that pain and fear is everything that you ever wanted. Absolutely everything. So I love that. Oh man, so inspiring.
And it's a process too, you know, it's like every single day. I had a horrible boss one time, and I hated, and he ruled by fear. But he did say one thing that stuck with me that was right, and I hated that he was right. He said, if you wake up, just try to do good things every day, and good things are going to happen. You know what I mean? All you have to do sometimes you're feeling absolute shit, and you just have to tell yourself, I just have to get through today. I'm just going to try to make the right choices for myself today, try not to make harmful choices for myself. And that is like, that's all I can do today. And really, like, that's growth, and that's positive, and that's really what it takes to get to a place where you're like, oh, seeing the good fruit in your life is just waking up and getting through each day. And it feels monotonous, and it feels boring sometimes, and hard, and like exhausting, but that's like the little work that works. Okay.
Love it. So now we've got some fun questions, and I ask this of everyone because I love the breadth of answers that I get from people about what's important to them, and when we put everything into perspective, what really matters. And for some people, it's very practical stuff. It's like, I want to get my admin in order. And for other people, it's very spiritual, or it's very family orientated. But so there's two things that's guaranteed in life. One of them is that we're all going to die one day, and the other is that we don't know when. So if you knew for a fact that you only had 24 hours left to live, how would you spend them?
Yes, this is such an easy question. I would stay at home, and I would just play all of the board games that we have with my son. He's 7. He's so cute. And so we just play all the board games. I'd cook some pasta, I'd make a sauce, we'd make some garlic bread, and it would just be a hearty home, cozy family time all day. Yeah, that's it. Real simple.
Amazing. And what if you had a week? How would you spend a week?
You know, a part of me likes to say that I would travel, but you know, when you go on vacation and that first night, you're like instantly a little bit uncomfortable because you're kind of like, I kind of miss some of the stuff that I have at my house. You know what I mean? So I think that I would be like, want to go on vacation. I want to go to the beach. I want to stay at this really nice hotel. But I know that I'd get there the first night and I'd be like looking at these sad little shampoo bottles and just being like, I want all my bath stuff, you know? So I, for real, would probably stay home for a whole week and just read books and play board games and go for walks, go outside, take myself to lunch somewhere nearby every day. And that'd be that. Just die in my bed.
Amazing. And then what if you had a year? How would you spend a year?
Okay, so then I would travel. I think the discomfort is worth it for a whole year. Then you got to do the traveling thing. For sure. I'd try to knock out as many places that I'd go to, try to bring, I'd just be like, sorry, kid, you're going to miss school for a whole year, or I'll homeschool you. I'd just take my whole family with me. This is, of course, with unlimited monies, and we'd never stay at a hostel. We'd only stay at a nice hotel because I am 35 now, and I am not going to do that.
Amazing. Yeah. And is there anything in that you would stop doing? Is there anything you'd give up?
Oh, what would I give up? You know, motherhood has really kicked the shit out of me and breaking my bad habits. I used to like drink a little too much as a bartender in New York, but now I'm 35. I have 2 drinks and I have a vicious hangover. And also he's broken me of sleeping in. So now I wake up at like 5:30 every morning. So drinking has just, I stop at 2, you know, I have 2 glasses of wine. So nothing's really gotten totally out of control. I do smoke a lot of weed, Andrea. I wouldn't knock it out. I will go hard like Snoop Dogg until the day that I die, you know? So nope, I'm going to have my little vice and,
Okay.
and keep my kind of responsible balance of everything. I think I've got a good balance going here, and I'm not one to deny myself of pleasures.
Amazing. I think one of the things that I said I would give up was just fear.
Ah,
I'd give it up. Goodbye, fear. Gone.
I
Who gives
wish.
it? I'm going to die anyway, so why worry? Like,
Sometimes I think about what it must be like to be a psychopath and not feel the fear of like existential stigma or any emotions. You know what I mean? It seems liberating as hell.
the pros and cons of psychopathy. Like, yes. Oh, days.
But yeah, I wish I could get rid of that fear. Ugh. But maybe just always having the courage to just go through it no matter what.
And what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self if you could see her?
Oh, I mean, classic, be a slut, do whatever you want. 20-year-old self was so concerned about not being a slut. And the not being a slut thing is just really saying, I don't want to experience violence for expressing my sexuality and experiencing and exploring my sexuality with the same freedom as anyone else on this planet.
Yeah.
And so I would say to just be a slut and do whatever you want and just wait for everybody to catch up to you. It's hard to say that because back in the early 2000s, you could lose a lot of friends just being a slut, doing whatever you want. But at the same time, I really felt like, every time I went for it, it always encouraged my friends around me for them to be sluts and do whatever they want. So it was always a positive effect. Sometimes their boyfriends thought that I was a bad influence, but if your boyfriend says that to you, you just keep going. That's probably what you should be doing.
And what do you think your 90-year-old self would say to you if she could see you now?
Oh gosh, I think she would probably want me to work faster through unraveling my like religious trauma, and kind of be braver. I do feel it. Even parts of me are holding back too in some areas, and so I think she would just be like, be braver.
Mm-hmm.
I feel a little cocky and super brave, so it scares me to say that. I wonder what I'm going to be like when I'm 90. I think it's going to be a wild sight. I'm excited about it.
And what kind of legacy would you love to leave? What would you want to be remembered for?
I would want to be remembered for being shameless. Yeah, shameless. And loud and a little fearless and a risk taker, I think. But at the end of the day, very responsible. I hope they stand at the podium and they're like, you could always count on her to show up at the right time and be there for you. So
I love that. And purpose is the thing that always drives us. It's the thing that gets us kicking our doobie off in the morning, or even just swinging our legs out of bed when we can't be arsed. And what would you say is your purpose, or to put it another way, your powerful why?
well, I grew up like a very girly girl. I love femininity. I love it so much. And I really want to, and you get to this point when you're like a preteen where you're suddenly realize that like femininity is seen as less than and pink is frivolous and it's all kind of just like a joke. And there's part of you that kind of rejects it. And you're like, oh, I don't do that pink Barbie stuff. And so I finally come back around to just really loving it and diving into the Barbie stuff and being shameful about it and really loving being in this like really feminine, sensual, sexual, wild place and irreverent, kind of just, I don't know, the demonized feminine is fascinating to me. And so and when I paint, that's always kind of a reflection there. And a lot of my clients that I attract a lot of them are gender explorers. I do a lot of forced feminization and I do a lot of bimbofication too. And everyone is just, we're all loving like getting really feminine, really girly, really wild and going to those places because growing up, as a good girl Christian, you know, my secret sexual self was like to lock all the doors and to get super glamorous and to like to doll myself up and wear crazy outfits and then listen to the yeahs and just like masturbate like a crazy person. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I was like making my own little movies on my digital camera for myself back in 2002. And so when I have clients who are doing that, keeping their panties secret and like hiding their dildos, I'm like, I have been there. I know what that's like. So let's all experiment and get our toys out and be nasty, dirty little sluts and have a very good time. And we're gonna, you know, we're gonna go for it over here. So I think that's what I want my legacy to be, is just a liberation of the wild, sexy feminine that exists in everybody.
Amazing. And do you have any final advice for any women that are watching right now?
You know, one thing that has been coming up when people ask me for advice on Dom stuff and stepping into a role as a Dom in their own relationships, a lot of people ask me that they say that they can't find their voice. And they don't, and like they feel comfortable or they're getting comfortable with the actions of dominating, the dress, the costume, but when they go to speak, it is difficult. And I think this can stretch across not just kink and BDSM, but everything. You kind of feel like your voice is taken away from you and you don't know what to say in those moments where you feel like someone's trying to take your power away from you, or you need to exercise power and you feel this resistance and you feel trapped, like your voice is caught in your throat. So I get that a lot. And I guess the one thing I'd say to women, if you are feeling that, anyone who's feeling that, is that I don't have anything good to say to you except for the only way through it is just to do it. And as someone who has wrestled with extreme stage fright and like I can feel my voice lock up, I get this rash all over my chest, I will shake like a little small dog. The only way for me to break through that as an actor and as a performer is just to keep speaking up, keep doing it, keep performing until it just gets less and less and less, until you know your triggers and you know the things in your body that go off and you know how to control them a little bit better, and you can talk yourself and you can say like, no, I'm doing the right thing. If I'm feeling like this, it's a little bit of a sign that like I need to push through it and I'm going into the right place. Like that is a scary place I need to go, and I'm gonna effing speak up for myself. and specifically with doming, if you are, this is kink specific, but if you lose your voice in a scene, you don't really know what to say when you're like whipping somebody or pegging somebody or telling somebody to go sit in a corner, whatever. It's totally okay to like watch movies or read books of really inspiring, strong female characters, dom characters that you really resonate with, and really like stew on their words, get them into your body. And as an actor, this is just an acting tip, but if you personify somebody else and you try to step in another role, you can feel that power in a different way. It's a little bit easier for you to access because you have a distance from yourself. It's not you. You know what I mean? So it's okay sometimes if you want to take on secretly in your own head the most powerful character you can think of and act a little bit about them. Nobody has to know, and nobody has to know the wiser. So if you're having a hard time to get there and have that confidence boost, that's what I would say.
Amazing. I love that. And the more that you do that, the more you train your mind that that's who you are now. Yeah. And you can really start to channel that and then really step into it and make it your own. Yeah. Because I think that it's doing that teaches you that nothing bad happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing bad's going to happen. The world's not going to fall apart. You're not going to die. And we get so scared of, we used to be scared of lions and tigers and bears, right? That's what was coming for us, like a way back. But we're now pretty physically safe. And the thing that we're scared of now is social death.
Yeah.
It's people not liking us, rejecting us, telling us that they disagree with us. And that, that's what we get scared of. That we offend someone or they don't like us or they reject or they cut off or we look bad or we don't look good or whatever it is that's there. But that's what we get so scared of. But speaking your truth is in being authentic and leaving nothing on the table, nothing in the tank is it's the most terrifying thing, but also the most empowering thing that you can ever do for yourself and the people around you.
Yeah.
So this has been amazing. How can people contact you?
I have a website, domtomorrow.com, and there's a contact page there and all of my information. There's even a link at the bottom to all of my art stuff. So it's kind of a one place you can go. domtomorrow.com. Yep.
Dominatrix.com. And what about your art?
Oh, that is femtomorrow.com. It's
Okay,
similar,
cool.
femtom and for short. So that I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. You can go see all of the stuff that I've been making. And I've got a couple little, I'm trying to be better about videotaping actually painting,
Yeah.
That's hard.
Well, I mean, it's almost
to me.
Christmas. So if anyone's looking for a gift for someone, it's almost Christmas.
Oh yeah. I have an art store and I've got like prints and mugs and shirts. I've got leggings. I've got cutting boards. I mean, you name it. And so they handle all of the printing and shipping. I post all of my art on there. So you can get my art on just about anything. But if you wanted to do a personal commission, my commissions are open. Yeah. I'll wrap up your painting in a super beautiful, like with a bow, with a tag. It looks like a present. So people open it, feel really special.
That's so cool. Listen, thank you. It was 10 times as good as I thought it was ever going to be, and I already imagined it was going to be spectacular. So thank you.
I had a great time.
And I think what you've given me anyway is just that inspiration to just always keep speaking up, keep using that voice. Don't be a wimp, push through the fear, because it can't get any worse. So, there's only good stuff on the other side of all of that fear. And I've loved every single minute of this. So thank you. And we should do this again.
Oh, hell yes. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to be your podcast is my new podcast now.
Good. Yeah. Cool. Well, listen, thanks so much. And to anyone that's watching, please go and buy some art or follow Domme tomorrow. And even just watch some of your videos on Twitter. You'll get to see what using your voice looks like. So amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you.